Hi, I'm Ted from Everything Attachments, and we're back today over at my house where we've moved a lot of dirt. That top of that right there where you see the camper up there, we had a berm built so high you couldn't even see the windows on that camper. So we've pushed that whole berm down into this hole to make it more mowable. The hill was so steep it would rut out so bad it was really hard to mow and keep your brains together. So we've smoothed everything out. I did take a few pictures of this, put it on Facebook. This was our prototype, the first one. We brought it out here just to check everything out to see how everything worked for us. We really liked it. We've tweaked a few changes on it, especially right here where the hydraulics hook. We've redesigned this where it's got full push in the center of the cylinder instead of just on the bottom. It worked fine for me, and I haven't broke it yet, but I can see it coming, so we just made the change now before we had a problem. Now this has a unique option on it that we're going to work into slowly. We just wanted to see. That's mainly why I came over here the first time, to see how it worked. And on a tractor like this, I do have 4 remotes, and I don't think I've ever plugged into them because it's not really fair to do videos for the general public, especially for compact tractors that aren't going to have the ability or want to spend the money to put factory remotes on. They're roughly $1,200 to $1,500 a piece. 2 is usually the maximum you can get. And to do this blade fully hydraulic, you need 3 or 4. So right now, this one, so to make all that out of the ball game, if you don't have any remotes and don't want to spend that $3,000 or $5,000 to get them, which I wouldn't, we did put an electric over hydraulic pump system on here that's going to be available, and it's only covered with plastic because we hadn't engineered the shield, which looks a lot like an EA brush cutter PTO shield that goes over this. So this has its own 12-volt battery on it. It's been on the solar charger. You can charge it with a regular charger. You can run a small wire up to your tractor that would keep it charged. If you don't put the battery back here, you're going to have to run some like number 2 really thick cables all the way to the battery to fully power this unit without the battery mounted on it. So this has a heavy-duty lawnmower battery with an electric over hydraulic unit there. And so it operates like our bridge cranes at work. This looks similar to our remote. You've got your angle and you've got your offset. So you're able to do that without putting on any extra hydraulics on your tractor. Now, when you're doing a blade, when you do a rake, the dual tail wheels are definitely the way to go with a landscaping rake. It's not the way to go for a blade. The only reason I put them on here is because I knew everything I was going to do was going to be level. I wasn't going to be using my tilt option because everything I'm going to do, I would just want it to be more level. So this blade, when you order this blade, it will come with the holes in here if for some reason you wanted to do this, but it's not going to come with the brackets and stuff on them. And truly, the one for the center gives you a lot more leverage. It can be mechanical or hydraulic. I really prefer the mechanical on this better. I prefer the mechanical here, mainly because you can't keep them clocked. But if you wanted to put these on your blade, the holes will be in the blade. We would be able to send you the brackets to get them put on, or we could put them on if you request before you get it. It's just not really what I recommend. Our tail wheels we make in-house, and they're awesome with that square tube. That shaft comes all the way to the bottom where it's welded. They never cause any problem. They're great. They adjust easy. And the way we do this on our rakes and stuff, you would simply pull one pin, move it to the front, and you could stand these straight up out of the way where they're not causing a problem. But while we're here and we got this hooked up, we're getting ready to do a 55 Wicked grapple video with brush and stuff. But while this is hooked up, we're going to make a few more passes around here. And what you'll see is any place that you see on the side there where it looks like there's no loose dirt, it'll kind of get a glazed look as this blade straightens. That's chewing the high spots off, and then it just simply, the gauge wheels help deposit it in any hole. So the more circles you make, the more turns you make, the more passes you make, the leveler everything's getting. I did all this. It looked like it was rough and it wasn't near this level. And I spent about 2 hours over here, and it went from looking rough and very unlevel, definitely unmowable, to pretty doggone good. So it's just going to get better as you go. But this blade, it's a really complicated blade to build. There's a lot of parts in here. So whether this blade comes either hydraulic, any function you want, or fully manual. It comes manual no matter what. Like, look at the back here. Come around here, Chuck. So if you wanted to tilt, you simply would turn this to the side, pull the pin out, pick whichever position you want it in, and you can adjust it manually. Or you can add the cylinder right here, which would just use the third function on this electric pump or one of the hydraulic outlets, and you can do hydraulic tilt. You can do on the angle here, you would have a pin. If you were doing it manually, it would go right here. Your holes are already here and in the back. So it totally adjusts manually with no problem if you don't have hydraulics. If you want hydraulics, you're simply just gonna add the cylinder. Same way with the offset. All the holes are here for the offset. The hole is back here. Now we're gonna make this a little narrower. It's got the place for the pin that goes in here. So everything on here can be done manual, or everything on here can be done hydraulic. It's a very unique blade. I don't know of any other compact blade that's like this. And actually we're changing up a few other blades we have in the heavier versions to have these same options. But this electric over hydraulic really did impress me. Wherever I put it, it would stay there with no problem. And I believe it'll go all day without a charge. So we're gonna give it a quick run around here and see how it works. Okay, so this is a Category 1 blade only, although this is a Category 2 tractor. So I am using bushings here for my Category 2. This is a 60 horsepower tractor. It's really light for 60 horsepower. So this is rated for up to 60 horsepower, but it's kind of rated, if your tractor's 60 horsepower and it's an L series like this, which is probably one of the lightest tractors with 60 horsepower, we're good with it. If you've got a Mahindra or a Coyote with a cab on it, and it is much heavier than a Kubota, and then you're gonna put, let's say you got a backhoe on the back of it, or you've got really heavy stuff on the back of it, that's where, when we're rating our grapples, that it really becomes, whether we're using the Wicked 55 or the Wicked 60. Same way with the blade. If you've got that much weight, instead of going with the compact version, we've got one more version up. This one is rated for 20 to 60 horsepower. We're gonna have one that's rated from 35 to 75. And when you've got one of those heavy tractors, even if it's only 50 horsepower, if you've got one of those heavy horsepower tractors, you just need to use the heavier blades and the heavier equipment. We size things more by weight than we do by horsepower. We'll see how all this works. Yeah, they're fine the way they are. Last time I used them, they were adjusted right. One of my tires is a little low on this one, but it's still okay. So basically, I just let it all the way down and drag it. Sometimes it'll be working, sometimes it won't, but that just gets it more level and more level. So like right through here, there was a really high spot. That's why it's kind of glazed. And then I'll go to the top, there's another really high spot, but it will eventually drag this around and deposit it in all the holes. So I'm gonna go around the big area first. And you can see where I'm getting ready to come up on. It definitely is a highly glazed area. So this is a high spot right here that hadn't been messed with in a long time, so the dirt's really hard. I'm gonna throw a little bit of angle to it. Let me go ahead and adjust this a little bit. Let's see. I want just a little bit of angle that way, and I'm gonna leave the offset in the middle. And I'll start working from the outside in. Right here, it'll be cutting hard. And then in front of my doors, I'm gonna pick it up and let it deposit it because just to keep the water out. So as it comes to right there, you can see it's simply gonna dump what dirt it can, and every time it does that, it gets more level. And I'm gonna pick it up right here so I don't get into my high spot right here. There's a few big boulders and stuff right here that need to be done on final cleanup. Every time it pulls hard, I know it's on a high spot, and everywhere it's not touching, I know it's delivering it to a low spot. So with the final changes that Chuck made on this blade this week, it ought to be a really good. It's not going to be cheap. There's a lot of parts on it, but there's not many blades that offer all the functions that this blade does. So as I make this turn, it was really steep. It had a big hole. The gauge wheels are simply going to pick the edge up and leave the dirt right where it needs to be. So the more time you've got, and we're talking, an hour or two, not all day, but the more time you've got to just make circles and pick off the high spots, the flatter this place is going to get with just basically no effort except driving. So it takes a lot of the expertise out of it. If I was using a box blade, actually we do make gauge wheels for our box blades, which would help a lot. But it's still going to take an operator doing a lot more work to end up with the same result. I keep getting these handles mixed up. It's been a while since I've run much of the equipment around work lately. It's kind of nice to get out. Today's Friday, the factory's not working, our salesmen are there, but it's one of the few days that Chuck can get out of the factory where he isn't having to help the people run the lasers and so forth. It's one of the days that he can come over and help us make a video, which we're way behind on. Everything attachments. We've got great products. We've got a lot of things that we offer that you don't even know about, which is sad for us. We're going to try to do better. We're looking for a great IT person and somebody that's fitted for this job right now. Should knock that rock over eventually. I'm going to go ahead and start cutting on this high spot right here. I knew it was going to dig in right there. And the only reason I'm not going into the low spot yet is because I want to take a little bit more off this heel and move it down into that crown there just so it'll be easier to mow. Every time I do this, it's dragging a nice little pile of dirt off right here. Yep, making it better. I'm going to take just a little bit of tilt out of that. So for the amount of money that we'll be adding, which is approximately under $1,000 to go to the electric hydraulics, There's no way to even get a factory first remote on there for that, and you'll be able to do up to 3 different functions. You simply hook your 3 pins up to your blade like you would, throw this electric controller over with a 15-foot cord, and you're done. You don't even have to plug in your hydraulics. It's great. This has been a thorn in my side for about 20 years that I haven't lived here for the last 10. And I've been wanting to get it fixed. I can tell it's gotten a hard spot off there. And you can see that glazed area. We've not had rain in a long time. And that's 2 wheels, and going over that angle there, that's where actually a single wheel with a blade would actually help. So we'll take another 8 or 10 minutes here. We're going to cover this whole amount. And you ain't going to do anything to get better and better. I'm in low range at about 2/3 RPM. Actually, I'm in medium range, I think. So it's pulling pretty hard right here where the dirt's really hard and it's cut. I do have a drain under that right there, so I don't want to fill that up for sure. So I'm in medium range, running at full hydrostatic pedal at about 2,500 RPMs. Pulling hard right there. But it's getting leveler every time, so that's what I want. I'll get these big rocks out later with a root rake. I love this blade. I tried it first doing it. I'm sorry I'm not moving it around and doing a lot of things with it. We really came over here to do a grapple video, and but we wanted to finish this up and just show you how amazing this blade really is. And gauge wheels are the most, I never thought how much I would like gauge wheels on a straight blade or a box blade. Doggone, it takes a lot of the work out of it. I love it. I'm gonna take out, I'm way back out here because I know this is a high spot. I'm gonna cut back in here where it's low. So this right here is just a little less than a half an acre. And we're going to be out here a total of about 15, 20 minutes of actual work time. And it makes what could be a really hard job for an inexperienced operator really easy. So I've hit this from the side a couple times, and I've got a couple little ditches. I'll go back over this one edge here that needs some extreme cutting, just to smooth it all back out to be ready to mow it and stuff with. I do really love these electric hydraulics. Just not having to plug in 6 lines and making sure they're not pressurized where they are pressurized. You know, it takes a lot of the pain in the rear out of it. So I'm going to smooth this heel up in front of the chuck a little bit. So if you were to spend another 2 hours out here, this would look like a golf course as far as its levelness and ready to mow. Of course, it wouldn't be flat, but it would all be nice and smooth and be great to mow instead of what I had, which was like the worst ever. That pretty much covers it. I'm going to take one more pass right over here on this hill, clear that up, and one over towards Chuck and call it a day. The blade has moved back considerably. It's not real short to the tractor. It just costs more money for tubing to get it back there. But especially with the leveling wheels and wanting to do leveling, it sure does work great. We'll let the turbo cool off a second. I think we'll call it a day as far as this video goes. I think you can see like these wetter, these hard places here. That's hard as a rock. So we're getting ready to seed this before it gets too cold. This will be gone over next with a pulverizer to re-loosen all this. It'll do a final level on it. Then we'll probably go over it either before or after, depending on these rocks. We'll definitely go over this with a landscape rake, get the final trash out of it. Then probably go over it with a pulverizer and it'll be ready to be seeded. Might possibly do an aeration where it's really hard like this. If we use our dual depth aerator that weighs a lot more than anyone else's and built heavier, we will actually get some good aeration even in these hard places for new grass to come up. And then we do have a cultipacker here. So this is on a hill. We will go over it with a cultipacker after we seed to make sure that, or before and after maybe, just to make sure we get the little V's to let the water get down in them, let the seed get down in them, where it comes up a lot faster. So all these tools, if you're lucky enough to have this many tools, and it's only because I make them for you, and that'll go to someone else next week, that I've got them available. So we really like our Scape Blade. It's got a long ways to go. Chuck's finally got everything detailed out for the electrics. We've got the cylinders redone at different places. It's going to be an awesome unit. Everything attachments, we try to build the best. I try to build stuff I want and the way I want it to work. And what I want is I want it to do just about anything. And the key thing is not breaking. And that's all due to materials. Just like this. This is hard ox. This piece here is hard ox. These front pieces here, why are they thin? Because they're hard ox. That's a 1/2 inch thick Valk edge. That's why we're not having any problem there. We fully back this properly. It's already ready for the skid shoes. It's already got the holes in it and everything to put the side plates on it. You can do the center tail wheel. The dual tail wheels for a scrape blade, probably not going to recommend it. It's just what I wanted. The holes will still be in the moldboard if you wanted to add them. This kind of post, this is the exact same design we've been using on our Land Shark, the big one that goes up to over 100 horsepower on the blades. It's just we've sized it down a little bit. That's a 2x5, 3/8 thick, 3x5, excuse me, 3/8 thick tube. It's cut on our tubing laser. And you can always tell the thickness of something by how wide that radius is, which is huge. If you see a really square edge, it's thin. If you see a nice rounded edge, it's much thicker. And that's how you can judge. But this is an awesome piece. It also has the floating piece here. And that really, if I was doing my final grade with the gauge wheels, I would be using my top link in here. But when I want it to cut hard, I want the top link to be in the solid position to push it into the ground. Hopefully at Everything Attachments, we'll have what you're looking for. Give us a call. We'll be here to help you. Thanks.